In the winter of 2013, a family moved to a small, quiet town, excited to start fresh in their new home. It was an older house with charm, and since it had been listed at an affordable price, they didn't hesitate to buy it. Emma and Joe, a young married couple with 2 children, Lily and James, looked forward to a peaceful life in their new home. For the first month, everything seemed normal. They settled in, decorated the house, and got used to their quiet neighborhood. But on the 36th day after they moved in, strange things began happening. Every night at exactly 3:36 a.m., their alarm would go off, waking the entire household. Joe would check the alarm, reset it, and eventually dismiss it as a technical issue. But it wasn't just the alarm. They noticed that the couch in the living room always seemed to sink down in the middle, as if someone had been sitting there for hours, though no one had. The TV would suddenly turn on and off, and late at night, both Emma and Joe heard faint laughter echoing from the living room. Their nights became restless, and both started having nightmares, often waking up feeling cold and anxious. One afternoon, while Emma was busy in the kitchen, Lily, their youngest, was playing quietly with her favorite doll. Suddenly, Lily's face grew pale as she heard a whisper in her ear, a shaky voice saying, "Not me, not me." She jumped and looked around, but no one was there. Trembling, she ran to her older brother, James, and told him what she heard. But James just shrugged and said he didn't hear anything, brushing it off as her imagination. A few days later, Emma picked up the kids from school. Exhausted, she lay down for a quick nap, but was jolted awake by a scream from the upstairs hallway. She rushed out of her room and froze at the sight of Lily lying on the floor, bruises covering her little arms and legs, her doll lying broken beside her. Emma's heart raced as she knelt beside Lily, who clutched her doll tightly, visibly shaken. "James," Emma called, her voice trembling. "What happened to Lily?" James looked at his mother, eyes wide with fear. "It was Emily, Mom," he whispered. Emma's mind raced. "Emily? Who's Emily? Where is she?" James pointed toward the mirror in the hallway. "She was here. She was mad because we didn't want to play the mirror game with her." Emma felt a chill run down her spine. She didn't understand what this mirror game was or who this mysterious Emily could be. At that moment, Joe arrived home with a present for the kids, unaware of the eerie scene unfolding inside. Emma quickly explained what happened, and they decided to take Lily to the hospital to check on her bruises. That night, Emma stayed by Lily's side at the hospital while Joe returned home with James. It was nearly midnight by the time Joe and James entered the house. Joe decided to take a quick shower before putting James to bed. As he let the warm water soothe his tense muscles, he suddenly heard the faint sound of crying coming from the living room. He quickly turned off the shower, wrapped a towel around himself, and went to investigate. When he reached the living room, he was startled to see James sitting alone on the couch, sobbing. The TV flickered with static, casting an eerie glow across the room, and bits of broken mirror lay scattered across the floor. Joe approached slowly, feeling an uneasy chill fill the air. As he drew closer, James turned to him with red, swollen eyes. His voice was no longer the soft, youthful voice Joe was used to. Instead, it was hoarse and raspy, sounding disturbingly old. Not me," James whispered. Joe's heart pounded in his chest. He didn't understand what James was trying to say, but he knelt beside his son, gently patting his back. "It's okay, James," he said softly, trying to comfort him. "Everything's okay." After a few minutes, James's sobs subsided, and he fell into a restless sleep. Joe carefully lifted him and carried him upstairs to his bedroom. But as he turned to leave, James's hand shot out, gripping Joe's wrist tightly. "Stay with me, Dad," James pleaded, his voice barely a whisper. "Emily's here. She's sitting by the fireplace. I don't want her to hurt me." Joe looked back at the fireplace, but there was nothing there, just the dark, cold hearth. He tried to reassure James, "There's no one there, son. You're safe with me." But James shook his head, his eyes wide with terror. "She's there, Dad. She's looking at us and she's smiling." A shiver ran down Joe's spine. He scooped James up and carried him back to his room, hoping to ease his son's fear. As he carried James out of the room, he heard a soft crackling sound. He turned and his blood ran cold as he saw a faint glow in the fireplace, flames suddenly igniting, casting eerie shadows across the walls. And as Joe backed away with James in his arms, the whisper echoed through the room once more, "Not me, not me."